and welcome to another edition of Trader Talk TV. Today we have Mikko in the office. Mikko is a veteran of the industry. He's been working in digital advertising technology for a number of years. He's been working in media now. He's working with fraud and actually tackling some of the biggest problems around the industry. He's recently helped the WFA write a paper around programmatic. And Mikko, it's delighted to have you in. So just give us an idea of what BotLab is, because this is your new project that you're kind of building. And after that, let's talk about fraud, the actual bot ecosystem.
Yes, thanks for having me, and thanks for the kind intro. I think that with BotLab.io, if I start from that, I think with BotLab.io what we wanted to do, we wanted to create a force that is really looking after the interest of the industry. And I think that right now what we have trade bodies, and trade bodies are very valuable for the industry, but they are often focused on a very specific agenda. And on the other hand, if we look at anti-bot activity, it's the security companies, F-Secure and others. And while they're doing a really great job, they have a very defensive posture to this problem. They basically have a business model where you have a proposition where you give me $100 a year and I'll keep you safe. So what we felt that the industry, our industry, the digital media supply chain, really didn't have a force that could independently tackle that. And not only to have its incentives in such a way that it can independently indeed tackle it, but also that it would have the technical expertise to do so.
So the BotLab project, it's a website with details around sort of bot activity, or the companies working in that space, or what exactly does it? What exactly is the service it offers, or where does it cover?
So the first and foremost, BotLab.io is for individual members. It's not for companies.
Okay.
We made this very important decision to maintain our independence. For example, we don't have sponsors. We take in donations. We're a non-profit foundation. We've set it up out of Helsinki, Finland. We chose Helsinki, Finland for a few different reasons. Number one, in Finland there is a very tight regulation on foundations and non-profit entities. So we wanted to make sure that we're in a legal environment where when we say we are a non-profit, we are a foundation, that it's credible.
Okay.
Also, Finland is known as a neutral country. Finland is known as an independent country. It's known for its technology, or neutral, independent is wrong to say, but neutral country. It's known for technological excellence, and also it's known for the security establishment. So we felt that Finland was a very good place for us to set this out of. And that kind of goes back to the point about being neutral, being independent. Back to the point about membership. All of our members are individuals, and then with these individuals we interact in various ways. These individuals can give us data, and then we analyze that data and provide a report on that data where we actually identify the types of fraud. We identify how those types of fraud are happening within that system, within that data set, and then we provide the implications of that taking place, and finally we tell exactly what to do about that. And I'm happy to say that in our team, we have a team of about 15 people. We're all volunteers. I have some of the most respected crypto guys. I have global top hacking people, and I have some of the most respected people from our industry, from the data science side. So we have a very strong technical team. I would actually be willing to argue that when it comes to this particular topic of ad fraud, actually there is not even a close second to us.
So that's BotLab.io, and it's being rolled out at the minute. So today we're going to talk about the bot ecosystem. You have a very interesting history in this space. So you're going to run through sort of an idea of how that bot ecosystem and how it all works, the deep dive around the bot, basically. So let's sketch it on the board here.
Let's dive in. And what I'm going to share with you today is based on partially on personal experience. So I'm not going to make a distinction which of these things I've actually done myself for the experimental reason, but what I'm going to share with you today is all something that either I have done on my own for experimental reasons, or anybody can go online and see it for themselves.
Okay.
So whatever I show here today is factual, and it's not.
It's not theoretical. It's actually.
No, this is actually factual.
Okay.
So first, what we need is websites. Yeah.
Yeah.
In this case, we're gonna just have one website.
Yeah.
In this example, we're gonna build one website. We're gonna use WordPress for it.
Yes, it's great.
It's very fast.
Yeah.
In 5 minutes, we can do that. Then we're going to use APIs to create content. We're going to take RSS feeds. We're going to take Twitter API. We're going to take a few other things.
Yeah.
And this is going to take us about 5 minutes. Yeah. So I can actually come from zero to having an exchange fraud site up, and it looks great, by the way. The sites that we've built,
solid CSS. So,
exactly, yeah. They look beautiful, they look professional, and I'll talk a little bit more about why they are kosher for the exchanges. Okay, so now we have a site, right? Now the next thing for us to do is to set up our botnet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have few different ways of creating traffic, yeah, and one of them is botnets, one of them is traffic companies,
yeah, cheap traffic, cheap clips,
cheap and good,
yeah.
if you believe them, right? And I think what's really interesting about the traffic companies is that you start to see more language where they're mentioning our industry's players, right? I'm not going to say the names, we all know who those names are, but now in their marketing language, they're actually specifically mentioning these companies and saying how you can get the best ratings.
Yeah, of course.
You know? Yeah. So that's a really nice offering, I would say, for somebody who wants to play in this space. And then we have what we call mechanical bots, yeah, and mechanical bots are mechanical. There might be some typos, but I'm English as second language, so now mechanical bots and botnets are different in the sense that these are based on screen scraping and automation. These are based on actually kind of hijacking somebody's computer, and this can happen in two ways. You can hijack the computer, make it into a kind of an infected host, or then you can use these browser hacks to actually kind of capture someone's browser just for a moment. Yeah. So let's go back now to our botnet. To set up a botnet, and you can go to YouTube, there are hundreds of videos about setting up botnets, and they span from kind of 3 to 12 minutes. Yeah? So I know I can set up an HTTP specific botnet in roughly 5 minutes. Yeah. So we're going to use 5 minutes here again. So far we've used 10 minutes. Now what we have is we have the website, the backend. So we are a publisher. We have the botnet. Yeah.
The traffic. Yeah.
Okay. So what do we do now? Yeah. So I think this is where things can come a little bit interesting. What do we do now? Now we go to an ad network. Yeah. Or we go to a DSP. Yeah. Now, you know, a JavaScript legend, said that the best way to put a malicious code on somebody's computer is through an ad. So in our industry, we have a culture where we don't ask many questions about third-party tags. Yeah. Actually, it's possible to get a container tag in almost any ad network or DSP on every single ad call. So this is a really great method because we can buy any inventory, right? And we have massive scale. So, you know, we can buy fraud inventory. So we could actually use fraud inventory for this. We can use not viewable, any inventory. We can buy the inventory that nobody else buys, right? Easy to get codes in, easy to get, you know, easy codes. You can have any code, right? Because we can put containers, right? So it's ideal. This infrastructure that we are currently providing and this very sloppy approach to information security is providing a fantastic breeding ground for people who can think like I am thinking right now here.
So you're buying. This is the traffic piece here. You're buying traffic from the ad nets and DSPs as well.
No. Well, I'll put one more piece here. That's the final piece, which is the exchange. So now the whole thing comes together. What we do now is with our botnet script. Our botnet script goes to an ad call, and we start to traffic it. So then these numbers start to go up here, and actually we can have millions of infected machines in a matter of minutes, because it's every impression. We put a frequency cap of 1. Obviously it don't work, we know that, but at the very least we're trying. We put the frequency cap of 1. We know that the antivirus and these solutions, they don't work anymore. There was an Israeli company that did last year research. They took 40 different vendors, all the major vendors for antivirus, and then they took a few hundred malware. Well, they were able to detect 5% of them. So we know that we have a very high penetration rate, yes? So at this point in time, we've used 10 minutes time, we've gone there and we've set up a campaign, and boom, now we have millions of infected machines.
So just to get this straight, right? You've built the botnet in 5 minutes, a piece of JavaScript, you've coded it, you start buying traffic through here, right? Cheap crap inventory.
To traffic my
so you traffic your botnet, and then you're dropping a script in the computer, and suddenly you have your malware on those machines.
Exactly, and once I have that, once I have all those, I have all those infected hosts, now what they do, they start to go to my website,
and build the traffic.
Exactly. And then, of course, my ad tags are coming from an exchange, and no better exchange for doing this than AdSense, actually. So if you go to and I'm not kidding. I'm not saying that because of any other reason than that's the most established platform for doing
this. It's the long tail, basically,
And not just that, but it's really easy to get into. Why? So let's play a little bit with AdSense here, or whatever it's called today. It's really easy to get into. Why? Because Google has the ultimate low-touch model. Really easy to get. Google doesn't want to talk with you. The other very important thing, quality radar guidelines. Every year, mysteriously, a document leaks. A document that completely exposes how to build these sites without Google banning you from AdSense. And if you go to places like Black Hat, like any Black Hat forums, there are many online. I'm not going to advertise any of them. You go to some of those and you just do a forum search for AdSense, and then you can see how popular of a platform AdSense is there. So I think that that's something very easy to do. But as far as I understand, it's not that difficult to get into some of these exchanges that are specific to programmatic.
Because of probably the scale and the lack of direct contact. Exactly. So anyway, so you've got the AdSense and you put it out. You're serving it on your site now. Is that right?
And what that means, here is our bank account. That means that all of these things, you get it, right? The more we do all of this, ding, 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 ding. And these sites, once we've built the script, we can actually multiply. The way that you do these things is that you have a keyword, And in that keyword, you are saying what that site is about. You can use subdomains, you can buy domains, or you can just use some blog sites, whatever you like. These sites is very easy to create millions of them. So you don't just create one. What you do, for example, you go and get a keyword list of the top 10,000 Google search words. Right? So these are the in-demand search words, and then you use them to auto-generate those sites. So what you're doing, you're actually having all these really relevant content, and what happens over time is that you start to get a little bit of organic search traffic coming in there.
Really?
So you start to actually organically make money, and then what you're doing, you can actually monetize this by doing affiliate fraud. So you're actually doing cookie stuffing. You're, for example, dropping eBay or some other cookie. You can do all these other things because now you're actually seeing all this volume coming to your site, so you can start to think about different things of what to do. And before just wrapping this up, I just want to very quickly make sure that we understand the different options here. We don't have to set up a botnet if we don't want to. I actually like more the idea of mechanical fraud, and why I like it.
Just give me an idea of what mechanical bots are, what they do.
Mechanical bots do exactly the same,
right.
but with the difference, we control it 100%.
Right.
The bot master here
yeah.
is dependent on the hosts,
right.
yeah? But here what we do is we set up, for example, AWS micro instances,
yeah.
and we set up a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they're all running these test units, right? Mac, Windows, Linux. For this particular example, I'm using AWS, and that's also something that we're going to address with BotLab IO in our first publication, which will be a router deny list.
Yeah.
In the router deny list, we will have all AWS IPs. So we as an industry, just by putting this list where other IPs will be as well, we can put it to our routers, which are very easy to manage, right?
Okay.
And we can take away this kind of inventory that is 100% guaranteed fraud. You see, botnets are difficult because you might be the infected host today, but tomorrow you're a legit customer,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So actually, if we go to the industry and we say, let's solve this, that's a lot harder because we're going to actually lose real revenue for a while. But the way we're approaching it, our first contribution from BotLab IO is something where only a bad apple can say no, because we will bring the evidence to the table together with the list where we prove without any doubt that indeed all the IPs in our list can only be mechanical bots.
So these bots, who operates them, and what type of people operate them, and what are they building, and how do you access them? Like, so let's just say that this is one of your options. So everybody, by the way, bots are not always bad because people build bots for all sorts of things like crawling, etc. There's lots of different bots working on the internet. They're not all about fraud, but this specifically, you think this is a real issue because this is designed to, execute fraud in the worst sort of sense, like.
Yes, I think this is the big problem we need to look at as an industry more, because this is a problem that we're not talking about enough. So that's why we need to talk about it more. But what makes this different here is not only the fact that this is 100% the kind of inventory that is fraudulent, whereas here that might change, but also this problem is more specific to us. This problem is a wider information security bot problem. And the way we deal with this is that we make it more difficult to use bad bots in our supply chain than in some other supply chain. So we basically push them there. Whereas here, we almost have the opportunity to entirely eradicate it.
Okay.
So that's why I say we need to focus more on here. And what's really interesting, if you look at the Russian troll army, what they're doing, they're using this same technique, but they're using them as media bots to change people's mindsets, right? And they're doing these things in a very, in very interesting ways. But that's the other reason why we should talk more about that, because these kinds of bots are very easy to create. I made this seem very easy. Well, turns out these are even easier.
How are they built then? Is it still scripting, or
yes.
and where are they hosted then as well?
Well, these ones, you have a system where, let's say, at the back you run AWS. Then that goes to an elaborate proxy system. For example, one of the companies that I started, we pay a few $1,000s a month for having thousands of IPs that change every hour roughly. Also, when we started to talk with that partner, and this partner is not a black hat partner, this is a very, very reputable kind of high-end a server company. And when we started to talk with them, they really loved the idea because they saw that we really knew a lot about this topic. So they came to us with all these ideas that would have costed a little more, where we could have actually effectively appeared as office blocks during the day, entire areas of cities and so forth. So by using proxies intelligently, then we are able to make these mechanical bots appear very much like people, right? And while these guys, they appear on all these lists of the InfoSec companies, nobody's talking about this. And it's very easy to write a screen scraping script that can fill in a form, a CPA form, and we can take a software like Captcha Sniper that's cost, I think, less than $200, and you can go to YouTube or elsewhere in online and see how they very rapidly can break almost any copy. And this is software anybody can buy for $200, right? So this here is what we focus more on BotLab IO. We also have an agenda here, but we feel that this is where we can win very quickly. And again, I want to emphasize this. For the digital media supply chain, this will be harder because it will eat good revenue as well. This here will only eat bad revenue.
Right.
We sold this 100%, we lose 0% of good revenue.
Funny enough, it's almost like this has become a part and parcel of the actual economics of our ecosystem, in the sense that these sites, and I have built sites, but I've never done botnet activity, but I've built sites from scratch. I know that the virtuous cycle of getting traffic and building it up and then getting AdSense on. So I can imagine if someone's offered this option to basically build this ecosystem, and then when they're found out, turn it off, and they actually have the organic traffic. It's an interesting one, like, you know. I mean, you're almost building some good sites may have come out of this, in fairness, like, you know.
Well, there's a very interesting company called Conduit.com.
Yeah.
And if you go to search.conduit.com, you'll see something very interesting there. I'm not going to say what it is, but go and check it out.
I will.
And this is a top Alexa 100 company.
Yeah.
So once you do a little bit digging and you look a little bit about their background and you see that's exactly what's happened there.
Right.
It's an ingenious company, so I have the utmost respect for them.
Yeah.
And they were kind of a legend in the underground world roughly 10 years ago, but now it's probably one of Google's biggest partners,
Right.
And they've done exactly that. They've come from this background where everything was kind of questionable, and they've become a pretty impressive company, you know, and I really don't think there's any shame in that.
No.
I think that's exactly what these companies should do, and I think as an industry, that's what we should do. We should encourage all these bad apples to make money in our industry in a more meaningful way, in a way that adds value, like these guys have done.
So, getting back to the BotLab, this will be sort of available for people as for their whitelists, effectively, so they can block out the bad entities in the
and
space.
at the router level, you know, and that's really the key, because if I come to you and I say, you know, let's do a header-based approach, right? You're going to have to go to your stack and you're going to have to do changes to an extent, whereas this is a junior sysadmin job. Not only will provide the list, but will provide also the exact instructions for all common routers.
Right.
You know, so we really make it as straightforward and simple as possible. And then just here to kind of, you know, have this box covered as well. Just a few words. Traffic companies, that's kind of the easiest thing. You can find a lot of traffic companies now today. I think there is at any given point in time roughly 20 of them. You know, let's say there is 20 companies, and the prices range from 300 to 3,000 per million clicks. And it's very easy to set up these accounts. So you can go to a company like this, you can go into their website, and literally, I've done it in many different platforms, literally in 1 minute. It's easier than AdWords. It's much easier than AdWords. And the great thing is, because you're just buying clicks, you don't have to worry about creatives or keywords or anything. All you do is check a few boxes, and you can pay with Bitcoin. You know, how great is that? And boom.
I've got 10,000 to Bitcoin,
Any
interest?
There you go. Now you have something to buy. And really, what's interesting here is that some of them are quite they're quite good in marketing. You know, for example, they're specifically mentioning the names of these anti-fraud vendors from our supply chain and saying that they can cover them. Also, they have the ability to deliver scale. Some of them mention that they can deliver 200,000 clicks per day. You know, so then when we put 200,000 clicks into this picture, and you know, we don't have to do just this. We could do a little of this. We could do a little of this. We could do a little, and we could add some farming components there, where we're buying actual peoples in a farm in India or China, actually to do something that's legit human, right? And then this whole thing starts to become very interesting. You know, and we have all these technologies, you know, pattern analysis and all these machine learning technologies. All we have to do is take those kinds of technologies and apply them into something like this. And what happens, it gets out of our hands. And that's exactly what these perpetrators want. And I think the most interesting thing, the figure that I've seen in this industry, is that last year, there were roughly 200,000 new malware identified every single day.
Wow.
Now, if that number is at all true, my guess is that now we already have a situation where malware is writing malware, right? And that's really an ideal situation for a perpetrator, especially a political perpetrator who just wants to cause damage, because if it's out of my control, it's probably out of your control too, right? Whereas this cat and mouse, you know, police and robber game, you every now and then are slower than the ones who are trailing behind. But once you kind of, you know, let it go on its own and have a life of its own, then it'll be much harder for anybody to control it.
Mikko, thanks very much. This has been an interesting overview and deep dive on the bot ecosystem, and the BotLab.io is going to be an excellent site and an excellent addition to battling fraud in the system. So Mikko, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you very much.
And that was TTTV, and we'll see you next week.